Right now, there's a clock running in Washington, and almost nobody outside this space is watching it. But when it hits zero, and that's days from now, not weeks, one of two things happens. Crypto in America finally gets the law it's begged for since 2017. Or it gets thrown into next year, maybe longer. That's the bet. And here's what makes it crazy. The prediction markets say this has a 38% chance. But the people actually sitting in the negotiating room, they say it's within striking distance. One of them is wrong. And the person telling you it's close isn't some anonymous influencer with a laser eyes profile pic. She's the CEO of the Blockchain Association, a former federal regulator who is literally in the meetings. So who do you believe? The crowd or the insider? Because behind one closed door in the Senate, a handful of people are deciding the future of crypto in America. Most of them you've never heard of. But three names decide everything. If they say yes, XRP holders are going to remember this week for years. If they say no, we wait until 2027. So stop scrolling. Because in the next 14 minutes, I'm going to take you inside that room. And by the end, you'll understand this better than 90% of the people cheering online. Deal? Let's go. Real quick, straight from the heart. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here is a promise. Everything I say about how a vote might go is an estimate based on public positions, never a guarantee. I make these videos because I believe in this space and I believe in you. So do your own research, protect your family first, and let's stay patient together. Cool? Let's get into it. Let me get you up to speed fast, because the noise online is drowning out the facts. The bill is called the Clarity Act, and the name tells you everything about why it matters. For years, this entire industry has operated in a fog. Nobody could tell you for sure whether a token was a security, or a commodity, or something else entirely. The SEC said one thing, the CFTC said another, and builders got sued for guessing wrong. Clarity is the law that finally draws the lines. Who regulates what? What counts as a commodity? What the rules of the game actually are? Here's where it stands right now, and I want you to have the real timeline, not the hype version. The House already passed it. That happened back in 2025, with a big bipartisan vote. Then it moved to the Senate. The Senate Banking Committee advanced its version this past May, 15-9. And right now, today, it's sitting on the Senate calendar, eligible for a full floor vote. But, and this is the whole story, that full Senate vote has not happened yet. So here's where folks go wrong. They see committee passed it, and they think it's law. Nope, not even close. To actually become law, it needs 60 votes on the Senate floor. Then, because the Senate changed the text, it has to go back to the House one more time. Then to the president's desk. We are close, but close is not done. And the clock, the Senate's summer recess, is the thing turning this from a slow grind into a genuine countdown. Now, what does this have to do with XRP specifically? Everything. Because XRP spent years as the poster child for regulatory uncertainty in this country. A clear law that says, here's how digital commodities work, is the exact thing that lets banks, institutions, and builders touch this asset without fear of a lawsuit landing on their desk. Clarity isn't just a nice-to-have for XRP. It's the gate everything else has been waiting behind. But hold on. If it's this close and this obvious, why is it still stuck? Why hasn't it passed already? Because there's one fight, one single issue, that's been holding this entire thing hostage for months. And it has almost nothing to do with crypto. Let me show you. Okay, here's the thing jamming the gears. It's not the technology. It's not the token definitions. It's ethics. Let me explain it cleanly, because this is where most channels either get it wrong or turn it into a political food fight. I'm not going to do either. Here are the facts. There's a provision in this bill about whether senior government officials can profit from digital assets while they're in office. Some lawmakers insisted that language be in there. Others pushed back on how it should be enforced. And that single disagreement, how tough the ethics rules are and who gets to enforce them, is the knot that's held the whole bill up for months. Now, the CEO of the Blockchain Association, Summer Mersinger, and remember, she's a former federal regulator. She sat on the CFTC. She is not some hype account. She put it perfectly. She called ethics the big elephant in the room. She said that's what her team hears from every single Senate office. Not the crypto rules, the ethics rules. That's the holdup. And here's the part that flipped my perspective. Recently, the White House reportedly signed off on the ethics language that had been the sticking point. That's a big deal. It's negotiators clearing what they themselves called the final major obstacle. But keep it 100 with you. Signing off on language is not the same as 60 senators voting yes. Some Democratic senators have already come out formally against the current draft, saying the enforcement isn't strong enough. So this isn't over. It's just entering the final, tensest round. Let me pause right here, because I need to know something. Did you know the thing holding up crypto's biggest law wasn't even about crypto? It was about ethics? Type yes or no in the comments right now. I read them personally, and I want to see how many of you knew the real story behind the delay. Yes or no? Go, then come right back. All right, so if the ethics knot is loosening, who actually decides this now? Because it comes down to a very small number of people. And there are a few names you need to be watching this week. Names that tell you, in real time, which way this is breaking. Let me introduce you to the room. So let's go inside. 60 votes, that's the target. And the map to 60 runs through a handful of specific people. On the leadership side, the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, controls the timing. Whether this even gets called to the floor before the recess. That's step one, and it's not a small one. Then you've got the Republican engine that's been driving this for months. Senators like Cynthia Lummis, Bernie Moreno, and Tim Scott, who've been building and pushing this framework the whole way. But here's the real story. Republicans alone can't hit 60. This needs Democrats. And that's where a few names become everything. Mersinger and other insiders have pointed to a specific group of Democratic senators to watch. People like Cory Booker, Ruben Gallego, and Angela Alsobrooks. Senators who've been deep in the negotiations and who have signaled they'd like to get to yes. Watch them. If they move, this moves. Now, and this is me keeping it honest with you, because I'm not going to feed you a one-sided story. It's not all green lights. There are Democratic senators who formally come out against the current draft. Names like Murphy, Van Hollen, and Merkley have pushed back over the ethics enforcement. So the picture isn't everyone's on board and it's smooth sailing. The picture is a genuine, live negotiation where a small number of undecided votes tip the whole thing one way or the other. And I have to frame this the right way because it matters. Nobody can promise you how any single senator votes. When I say, watch these names, I mean their public positions suggest they're the swing votes. Not that their yes is guaranteed. That's the honest version. Anyone online telling you they know the exact count is guessing. So how does XRP fit into a room full of senators arguing about ethics language? Simple. Every one of those votes is a vote on whether XRP, and every serious digital asset, gets to operate in America under a clear law or stays stuck in the fog for another year or more. The room is small. The stakes are enormous. But here's what almost nobody's telling you about the deadline. Even if the Senate pulls this off, even if they get their 60, it's still not over. There's one more step that could push the whole thing into the fall or beyond. Let me show you the part everyone's forgetting. Here's the trap in the timeline that the celebration crowd is completely skipping. Let's say the best case scenario happens. The Senate finds its 60 votes. Everyone online loses their minds. It passed. It passed. Okay, but the Senate changed the text of this bill significantly from the version the House passed. And under how this works, a changed bill has to go back to the House for them to agree on the final language before it can ever reach the president's desk. Now here's the catch. Congress goes on recess. The House has its own schedule, its own summer break. So even a Senate win doesn't automatically mean law by Friday. It means the baton passes back to the House, and the timing depends on when they return and how quickly they move. That's why insiders keep talking about beating the clock. It's not one deadline. It's a relay race with multiple handoffs, and the recess is sitting right in the middle of the track. And this is why the countdown is so real. If the Senate doesn't move before that summer window slams shut, the realistic next chance pushes toward the end of the year, or into 2027, an election-shadowed year where big legislation gets so much harder. That's the fork in the road. Not pass versus fail. It's now versus a year from now, maybe longer. But let me reframe this the optimistic way, because it's the truth. Even in the slow scenario, the direction is set. Think about how far this has come. A few years ago, the US was one of the few places on Earth actively trying to make this industry illegal. Now, a market structure bill is sitting on the Senate floor. A former regulator is fighting for it from the industry side, and the debate isn't, should crypto exist? It's, what are the exact rules? That shift is massive. The foundation is being poured, whether the final vote lands this month or next year. So here's my challenge to you before the final section. Everyone's asking, will it pass? But that might be the wrong question entirely. Because whether it passes this week or gets delayed, there's a move you can make right now that doesn't depend on 60 senators at all. 60 more seconds. This is the part that actually matters for you. Let me bring this all home. Here's where we actually stand. The Clarity Act is closer than it has ever been. Through the House, through committee, sitting on the Senate floor. The ethics knot that held it hostage for months is finally loosening. A small group of senators will decide it in a matter of days. And even a win hands the baton back to the House before it's truly done. It's close, it's real, and it's not finished. Now, I know some of you are watching this thinking, I've heard clarity is coming for years. Why should this time feel different? And I get it. I really do. So let me be straight with you, the honest way. It might not land this exact week. The deadline is brutal, the vote is tight, and delays are part of how Washington works. But zoom out. The question in that Senate room is no longer whether this industry survives. It's what the rules are going to be. That is a completely different world than the one we were living in just a couple years ago. We're early. And early doesn't just mean price. It means we're early to the moment the rails get built. The laws, the frameworks, the clarity that lets the big money finally step in without fear. Whether the gavel comes down this month or next year, that build-out is happening. The concrete is being poured right now. The pain doesn't last forever. It never does. And the foundation is being laid whether the headline hits today or in the fall. So here's what I need from you. And this is the move that doesn't depend on a single senator. Get informed. Stay informed. Be the person in your circle who actually understands this instead of just reacting to headlines. If this breakdown helped, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because I'm tracking this vote every single day so you don't have to. Drop your yes or no in the comments if you haven't. And tell me straight, do you think they get it done before recess or does it slip to next year? I read every single comment. Stay early, stay patient, stay optimistic. Protect your family, do your own research, and never let anyone rush your decisions. And that includes me. This has been Crypto with BHW. We're early. The foundation is being poured, and I'll see you in the very next one.